All right, great. Thank you, Eric. And as always, thank you to all the practice leaders who hold the space. While I am away, it helps a lot. So thank you so much. And thank you for those of you who just show up to no matter who's leading it. I think that's really beautiful. It's such a beautiful process to witness, you know. Um, but yeah, there's so much medicine that comes through community, right? I think there's a lot of medicine that comes through taking the agency to really embody or channel, right? Medicine Buddha. And I think for those of you who are professional Tibetan Buddhist or Vajrayana practitioners, I think we get stuck around not feeling like we have what we need to be in relationships with the deities, with the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, when in fact you don't need anyone's permission to pray to Medicine Buddha. Right? Um, and that's something that I have found that it's fear, shame, or a lack of confidence that prevents us from really opening, right, to the direct consciousness of the Buddhas, and the Bodhisattvas as well. Um, no one technically needs to give you permission, right? But I know that we kind of get stuck on getting permission, right? Um, but I'm not telling you to go off and do whatever you want, but I'm just saying that um, when you do this path right, you become the permission granter because it's really up to you to choose how to get free at the end. And really, no one can tell you how to do that except your own intuition, your own clarity. Um, and I hope that this space is cultivating that for some of us, especially those of you who are really stepping up to offer, practice. I hope there's some confidence being gained. And I know this is it's a delicate line, right? Um, like definitely, we don't want to go so far out thinking that like, oh, I'm the guru now because I lead medicine Buddha for Lama Rod sometimes on Monday nights. Listen, people can take a very little and stretch it. you know. Um, so that's not what I want to happen either, but I guess really the point of this is that there has to be some confidence awakened in the practice, some agency, but that agency should also be open to guidance from community, from mentors and guides, elders and so forth. We stay in we stay in conversation, right, as we're beginning to open to kind of our spiritual leadership, I would say. And when we stop listening to people, then that's when it starts getting pretty dangerous, right? I've witnessed many spiritual teachers really crash because they started to believe that there was no one as realized as they are, you know. Which for me, I think maybe it could be a little bit of spiritual psychosis, religious psychosis, right? Um, but when we lead in community like this, then you're opening to the feedback of community, you know. Um, so anyway, I say all that to say thank you for the practice leaders who kind of held space while I was gone and who continue to do so. All right. Anyhow, welcome everyone. Particularly welcome to those who are new to the space. Welcome to those who I have been sitting with on my travels in New York, in Jersey City, which we had a lot of fun. Where else did we go to? Boston, Shambhala. It was good to see some of you at Shambhala and at the book reading in Dorchester. Many of you came out for that. There was a big crowd. My friends were saying who owned the shop. They were like, it's a big crowd. We drew, and it was cold that night too. So good for you. Good job. I'm back to being a Southerner now. So I like, you can't get me out the house when it's cold, right? But that's what we used to do in New England. So I get that. So thank you for coming out. And then lastly, Burlington as well in Vermont, which was a snowstorm, and everyone came out. So that was really lovely to see that. I wouldn't have come out if I wasn't the one teaching, right? But being in Burlington reminded me why I do not live in New England any longer. A snowstorm in mid-November, that's too much. Sorry. Like I can't handle that anymore. So great. So it's wonderful to be back here, to be back here on these lands. And I've spent a lot of time praying and offering ritual and ceremony on so many lands, in Virginia and Maryland as well, of course, in New York and Burlington and Vermont, and of course, in Massachusetts. Um, Offering a lot to the ancestors too. I was retracing some of the passages of my ancestors who um, my enslaved ancestors originated, came into this country in the Chesapeake Bay Area, Jamestown, Virginia, in the mid 1600s, which was a very active um, kind of slave trading port. And spend a lot of time in just a deep meditation with Mother Harriet Tubman, retracing some of her steps and her birthplace in Maryland, ending in Auburn, New York, where she passed and transitioned. I spent time at her burial site, right? Which I always think when I get to the burial site of a great icon, I always think there's supposed to be a huge memorial. But it was very plain. It was very hard to find too. But I got some directions from some locals on how to really find her burial space in the cemetery. And I just offered prayers there and felt real just deeply blessed, deeply protected as well. So I bring these blessings to you, and I offer deep prayers to Mother Harriet, who, among so many things, was such a gifted healer, right? And that's part of her story that sometimes we don't emphasize, but she was a very gifted, intuitive herbalist. And she used that capacity during the Civil War. I mean, she used it for her whole life, but she really used it in the Civil War to really support, particularly the Black men who were fighting for the Union, the Black men who didn't really have any resources, any support. But in her unit, she really showed up and just took care of as many folks as possible, becoming their mother, right? And I just think that so much of our work with healing is about learning how to mother, but it's also learning how to father as well. Um, but learning how to mother and mothering is not, I'm not linking it to gender, right? But just the expression of tending to, nurturing, supporting, right? When I talk about the earth and our earth touching practice, this is what I'm talking about, the mothering of the earth. And how does the earth mother? Right? And then, recently in practice, we've been also evoking the sky, which is a deep influence of my indigenous um, medicine holder, elders, teachers, but the sky as this expression of the Father. So when we lift our eyes to the sky in our practice and we call in the Father, we're being fathered as well. What is that? What does that mean? And these aren't questions I'm necessarily going to get into tonight. I'm just offering these as we begin to turn into our practice of medicine Buddha, right? Like, what does it mean, or what does it feel like to be mothered or to be fathered in our practice? Right? For those of you who are kind of intentional healers, like, you intentionally are practicing modalities to help people, how do you understand this? How do you understand the expression of mothering or fathering in your practice, right? Um, I think this is just really important questions. And I think these are questions that really help to cut through the ways that our healing work can be quite blocked. You know, there can be obstacles in the ways that we express healing because maybe we're still working through hurt or woundedness from how we have been mothered or fathered in the past as well. Um, so again, I think these are conversations for another time, in another venue or so forth. But just putting those out there because these have been a lot of my reflections as I integrate this kind of pilgrimage teaching tour, um, the fathering and the mothering, right? And how are you doing? Too, or people checking in. I'm not looking at the chat right now. How are you doing? How is your heart? Right. I would love to see just people just posting a little bit of that check-in. Like, how is your heart? How are you doing? What are you worried about? What are you needing tonight from practice? Which is another good question. Like, what are you needing? What are you looking for tonight? Tired but hopeful, and just lifting up. Rachel, this is your brother's 65th anniversary of his passing. Like, yeah, heavy heart, needing rest, heart is hurting, growing and tender, heart broke. Um, they're all coming in too fast now, but feeling shame, yeah, longing for soothing, okay, vulnerable and needing sangha, refuge, raw and exposed, feeling sad. Mm, looking for clarity on a toughish decision. Uh-huh. Yes. This is medicine Buddha, but like as I always say, all the Buddhas can do what any other Buddha does, right? So we don't have to practice medicine Buddha for healing. We can practice Tara. We can practice Chinrezi. Healing isn't, when we talk about healing or when we talk about dis-ease, like dis-ease is a compounded experience. So there are multiple things arising in this one experience of dis-ease, right? And so all the Buddhas have the capacity to unravel the roots, get into the roots of this dis-ease, right? We just have to trust them to do that. So whatever is arising, whatever you're looking for, whatever you need, like I want you to bring that to the forefront of your mind as if you're presenting an offering, right, to Medicine Buddha. Mhm. almost like for you professional Tibetan Buddhists, it's like when we present a kata, and I'm not that professional. I do have katas, but they're out of arm's reach, so I won't be getting up to get one to show you what that looks like. But a kata is just a white scarf, a white silk, often scarf, but it could be made out of any material. And you offer it to a lama, right? And it represents the kata. It can be different colors, as well, but traditionally they're white. And they represent the nature of mind, emptiness, you know. And you offer to a teacher, and then they take it and then they put it back around your neck, right? And we do that because it communicates that whatever you're seeing in the teacher, it's also present for you, right? The teacher doesn't have anything that you don't have, right? So when the Lama offers it back to you, you're meant to understand that like you possess the same nature that you feel really compelled to recognize in the teacher. And that's all that is, right? So if you see me again, you can offer a kata as well, because they're not mine. You're not giving it to me. It's actually an offering for you, which I think is really lovely, right? Because it's just a way that you are reminded, right, that you also have the seeds, the nature of awakening yourself, right? So, like offering a kata, I want you to bring to the forefront of your mind what what kind of healing you're looking for, what you're hoping for from tonight. Also offer what you're really struggling with. I see a lot of brokenheartedness, which is good, by the way. I know that, like, I know it sucks, you know, but our broken hearts are full of data, so much wisdom for us. And if we can sit long enough, if we can hold the space, long enough, then we can start actually listening to the wisdom of the brokenheartedness, right? And if you joined us yesterday for Sunday service, we talked a lot about brokenheartedness. I can't quite recall the teaching, that's why it's being transcribed. But like the brokenheartedness being the tension that we feel trying to live in this contradiction of emptiness and form, of there being something relatively, but there not being something, at, ultimately. And that tension is felt as brokenheartedness, deep disappointment. And then everything that happens above that in the phenomenal world, in our communities, in the world, that's just pointing us back to this fundamental brokenheartedness that this world, this experience is not our home, but we're here at the same time, right? And to learn to be with that experience, right? Because that experience will be with you for the rest of your life, as long as you're reincarnating in a body in samsara, that will always be the basic experience. Even when you achieve full enlightenment in the body, like there'll always be this maybe slight, if you're awakened, this slight sense that you're not supposed to be here, but you are. Right? So what else? Grieving, much care, rest, mothering, fathering, tuning. My main prayer has been praying to ancestors for clarity on the training I need to do and the teachers who I'm meant to work with, right? Um, The fierceness, seeking the fierceness of Mother Harriet. Yeah, the fierceness of Mother Harriet. Mm. That fierceness was just love. Like that's what happens when you trust the love and embody the love. It's fierce. The fierceness is just clarity. Like we're very ambiguous. We can be quite unclear about why we're here and what we're doing, right? But when you're deeply embodying love, you become like a bonfire almost. Like you're on fire, right? Because that clarity that love is offering is in this intense contrast with the ambiguity of phenomena around us and of people around us. Right? When you get clear, you're on fire, you're blazing, right? And all Harriet did was love and never gave up on that love, never gave up trusting, never gave up faith, right? That love and faith, trust, hope, all of that, that always won. She always chose that, right? That's all it was, you know. Fear was present, but she didn't get distracted by the fear. Right. And this is what we talk about when we talk about medicine Buddha. I've talked about this in my relationship with medicine Buddha. I had to choose to trust medicine Buddha, right? 100%. I had to put everything into trusting the practice for this practice to awaken for me, right? It's all or nothing, honestly, with this shit. You know, it's not 1 foot in, 1 foot out. It's everything. But that also is, I didn't want to talk all night, but we're going to do practice. But I'll just say this, like too many of us, we're trying to play both sides of this, right? And when I say playing both sides, I mean that we haven't quite bought into, right, the potential for real freedom and liberation. We're not quite sure about this yet. Right. So we're going to work a little bit of this, but we're going to have an exit plan. But baby, the exit plan is just back into more suffering. Right. So it's like, why are we like keeping the door open to more suffering? Right. There's nothing left in the realm of suffering, but we want to stick there because we still don't trust the potential of real freedom, real awakening. That's going to be very confusing in your practice, and that's going to create a lot of tension with me. So, right? Which is what people keep, bringing to me, presenting to me, right? It's the tension. You feel that tension because I'm very fucking clear about what's going on. Now, I didn't start clear, right? Not that many people start clear. Harriet didn't start clear, right? But that's where you start working at that clarity, right? Because it begins, I would just say for me, early on, early in my life, it was always rooted in this deep, uncomfortable feeling that there was more happening than I was being told, that the phenomenal world was hiding a secret and I was going to figure that out because none of this made sense. Right. I was like, this does not make sense. And no one is giving me a really good explanation. So I'm going to go figure this out for myself. Right. And I have been figuring that out. And I've gotten clearer and clearer to getting to this point where I'm just like, yeah, this is what I'm doing. Right. It's not one foot in, one foot out. It's everything in, all in. Right. And that's what I'm trying to really get as many of us to as possible. We have to get all into this, right? That's when the magic of this path really awakens. When you put everything on the table, you know. When we say, and Harriet did this too, and when we say, you know what, you've never left me at 6, so don't leave me at 7, which is my favorite prayer of hers, right? She would pray and say, you haven't left me for 6, so don't leave me for the 7th. And I would actually encourage you to adopt that prayer in your practice, right? Like when you're really working and in practice, if you're particularly working with deities or Buddhas and so forth, right? I think it helps deepen this faith when you say, you know what, you haven't given up on me yet. Now, however, I realize the issue is that maybe you have to get to a certain level of trust to even use that prayer. You have to get to a certain level of realizing that the Buddhas have never given up on you, right? Or the earth has never given up on you, or the ancestors really have never given up on you as well. You wouldn't be here if you weren't being protected by ancestors to some extent. Even though you may not like your ancestors, or your ancestors did this and that, but not all your ancestors were evil, So let that go, do some healing, you know. Um, but there are so many beings who have never given up on you, right? We may not be aware, we may not be sensing that, but they never gave up on you. And for me, connecting to that truth in my practice and my experience has been deeply heart opening, right? Deeply heart opening to realize that you're not alone fighting this battle of liberation, getting free, right? That there are so many beings who are helping you and who can help you even more if you start helping them out, you know? Do not be distracted. The battle is not yours, it's the Lord's. You're trying to bring church up in here, right? This is the spiritual confidence, that I started with at the beginning of our time, right? The spiritual confidence, the fearlessness. Like, oh my God, the fear will disrupt any spiritual work. Fear will do it. I think even above anger and hate, like fear will do it. Like quickly, easily, because fear will just prevent you from even trying. Right? You can't even get started with fear. Like fear rolls in and just polices all of our activity. Mm. So working with fear means that we offer space to the fear to be exactly where it is, how it needs to be. We just let it be there. We feel it. We lean into it, right? And as we lean into it, we're beginning to develop or sense its true nature. And its nature is the same nature of everything, which is this emptiness, space, energy, right? Right. And it's not that Harriet wasn't afraid or every human experiences fear, regardless of if they're aware of it or not. Fear is just present, right? But her love was greater than the fear, right? Like when you really take love seriously, then you know that love is the strongest force in the universe. Right? And the people who've gotten that are the people who've created a legacy that we're still being blessed and healed by, like Harriet. Right? A deep embodiment of love really burns, severs, or like scolds the ambiguity of the phenomenal world. It burns something and it leaves an imprint, and that imprint keeps reminding us of what's possible. Like that we just don't have to accept shit as it is, that we can cut through this with this deep embodiment of love. And when I talk about love, I'm also talking about compassion. You're right. They're both interchangeable for me. Love and compassion are really the same experience. It's awakened care, as I talk about in the New Saints, right? So let's go back to the practice again, which is returning back to what you're holding at the forefront of your mind, like you're offering a kata. Even in your mind, imagining that you're offering somehow this experience that you want to offer, right? Because ultimately, what we're doing is we're offering these experiences, be it something that we're discerning, being dis-ease or suffering, our broken hearts, whatever it may be, we're just offering it, right? And yes, we'll offer it to Medicine Buddha in the practice, but however, what is Medicine Buddha? Medicine Buddha is an expression of emptiness. So we're offering emptiness back to emptiness. And in that kind of offering, there can be a lot of release, a lot of clarity. Mhm. These are such beautiful. The sufferings that you're offering are beautiful, friends. The beauty is the truth itself, is the vulnerability. This is what I'm struggling with. Like, be it life or death, be it love, be it discernment, be it physical illness, right? This is so because what you're saying, what we're doing is we're not saying that this thing is a problem. What you're actually saying in this offering is that I need to get to the clarity, the wisdom of this experience. Not get rid of it, but get to the wisdom, get to the clarity. What is this experience trying to show me, teach me, tell me? Right? So it's not like I'm trying to get you healed. I'm trying to get you some information, right? I'm trying to get you some clarity here. That clarity is the healing, right? The clarity, which is emptiness, right? Which is wisdom, right? Which is healing. Emptiness is the healing, ultimately, that we're practicing in this tradition of Medicine Buddha. But anyway, I've said too much. We're going to get into our practice. Right. And so, as always, I invite you just to find your seats, like find your seat. Or let the seat find you, wherever, however is happening tonight. Find your seats, noticing the weight of your body, the seat rising to hold you. I take this very seriously. This is a very, very, very common instruction for me. Um, let the seat hold you. The sensation of the seat holding you can become an anchor, one of many anchors in the practice, but it can become a really important anchor for us. And we're gently resting our attention on the anchor, this sensation. The anchor is meant to gently tether us, right? Holding us, providing some type of anchoring that keeps our attention from wandering off into thoughts and emotions and so forth. But the anchoring means that we are slowly coming into conversation or relationship with the moment as it is, which in itself can be heartbreaking. So we feel the seeds. You can even notice your breath, your in breath, your out breath. And you can allow yourself to notice whatever feels good for you to notice or appropriate for you to notice. And the more we're kind of moving into the present moment or presencing, you know, as many people are saying now, you're coming into a real kind of vulnerability, a real truthfulness. And the truth of things is that shit is just happening, period. The breath is happening, the body's happening, sensation is happening, sound is happening, light is happening, air is happening, right? Things are just happening. They don't need a commentary, right? They don't need a narrative, right? All we're doing is just noticing. And even though we live in this profound contradiction of emptiness and form, right, or emptiness and phenomena, there's still at the same time just a really basic simplicity. It's real simple. This is happening. But the thing that isn't simple is the reactivity to what's happening. That's when it gets complicated. We get into our feelings, our opinions, our feedback, our resistance, or our clinging. That's the complication. But the simplicity is just noticing this is what's happening. That's happening. This is happening. And then in the practice, we can be with what's happening and still open up this more expansive awareness to notice everything else that's arising, which is the secondary kind of reactivity, the discursive mind, the analytical mind, the thought mind, the feeling mind. Right? All of that experience is just a commentary on the basic arising of this moment. And it's okay because in this practice, I'm not saying to block anything. I'm just saying just notice what's happening. And so holding all of us is the land, the earth as the expression of the mother that tends, nurtures, holds, feeling the land, the earth as the mother rise to hold you. Because the earth, like many beings, have never given up on you. Never. Love does not give up. We give up, right? But love doesn't give up. And the earth being this awakened being, this awakened consciousness is nothing but the expression of love. The earth isn't petty like we are. There's no room for pettiness. So there's nothing but love here, care, support. This love, this care is also the nature of Mother Harriet, the same nature as all the Buddhas, the Bodhisattvas, and the great spirits, right, who may not identify as a Buddha or a Bodhisattva, but who are nonetheless here loving us to get us free. And so we're going to go further. And I invite you to imagine just in the space around you that all of your benefactors appear and arise. And so in this practice, I'm just inviting you to invite all the beings in the universe who love you, who want you to be free. That's ultimate love, is freeing beings from suffering. So all the beings who want you to be free from suffering, we begin to imagine that they're appearing around us, taking form in whatever feels appropriate. You can see them in your mind, you can feel them, or even just have faith that they are gathering as you welcome them. So we gather all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, great spirits, great change makers, both living and in those who've transitioned. We call in our plant and animal allies who love us, the earth and all the elements, all of our teachers, guides, mentors, elders. Call in all of our beloveds, our co-conspirators, everyone who's working to get free together. Let's call them all in. And as they arrive, as they gather, we just begin to feel their radiance of just profound care and love for us. And their radiance of love and care for us and towards us begins to dissolve all the phenomena, all the space around us is dissolved in the radiance of our benefactors' love and care for us. And as everything dissolves, we turn our attention to the opening mantra, Om Minla Sangye Kino Soha, which will be in the chat box, which translates to Medicine Buddha, I pray that you know and look upon me. So as we begin to chant this, which we'll chant 3 times, beginning with Om, chanting the mantra, and then ending with Om. And as we are chanting, we're imagining that Medicine Buddha, the consciousness, the spirit, the mind, however you think of Medicine Buddha, begins to arrive, to take form, to appear in the space in front of us in our minds. But just letting Medicine Buddha appear in in whatever way feels aligned with what you need right now. So we'll begin. Begin with Om. Om Razange Hino So Om Razange Hino So Om Razange Hino So And thus we imagine the great healer has appeared. And again, this arising can be a feeling, a thought that Medicine Buddha is present, a visualization of Medicine Buddha in his iconic form or in any form that embodies sacred healing for you. And as Medicine Buddha has arisen, we slowly begin to turn our attention to our main mantra. And as we begin the mantra, which you can chant along or sit and listen, either way, I invite you to imagine offering what you're holding, what you're needing support, tending around, beginning to offer that over and over again, as if Medicine Buddha is right in front of you and you're just taking this thing, this experience, and just offering. over and over and over again. And letting go of your attachment to the thing, to needing, the thing solved or healed, just letting it go, be it grief, be it brokenheartedness, be it a question, just letting it go and just offering it. And imagining that what you're offering is just dissolving into the brilliant emptiness that is the nature of Medicine Buddha. So offering over and over and over again as we begin our mantra. All right? And then we'll take a break, and then offer the prayer requests, and then go back into the mantra to finish up. Okay? All right, we'll begin. 오 태야 다운데 근세 베근세 마베근세 라스 수문가 제소하 태양 다운데 근세 베근세 마베근세 라스 수문가 제소하 태양 다운 Be attention to our prayer requests. And as always, we call to, again, to all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, all the great loving liberatory spirits of the universe, to all the elements, the ancestors, to all the energies, all the elements, everything that loves and who is working to abolish the reality, the suffering of samsara. We call to you to hold these prayers on behalf of our collective, that you offer deep insight, wisdom, medicine that can aid in the fruition of what we most need to happen for ourselves and for others. We offer prayers that I'm able to navigate the various transitions I am moving through now, which includes my job, living situation, and relationships. Offering prayers for our minds and hearts that we allow in all the love and care surrounding us. Prayers for In and myself that we navigate our transition with love. Prayers that I get clarity, integration, grounding, and support. Prayers for my mother and her health. Prayers for my own settledness and myself, vulnerability to change when it serves my highest self. Prayers for my children that I embrace this moment with them and help them to shine in their wonderful and unrepeatable ways. For my wife and her radiance and healing. Prayers that this nasty virus leaves my body and that I return to wellness with energy for practice and holding a line. May all beings be free, safe, and well ASAP. Prayers for Jayan that his pain will subside soon. Prayers that I'm selected for the job I am a finalist for, and a joyful and easeful transition into a year of growth and expansion. Prayers for my friends and family that their holiday travels will all be safe and uneventful. Prayers that the holiday season will not bring additional pain to the grief that I am experiencing. Prayers for those who are facing neurodegenerative disease and their caregivers that they find continued strength and receive the support that they need. Prayers for dear Megan, may she be fully healed as quickly as possible. Prayers that all beings have everything they need now and always. Prayers for all impacted by physical, mental, and emotional violence. May they be supported and find safety, peace, and liberation. Prayers for Jay that he finds love and liberation. Prayers for A and Z for bravery and knowing. Prayers for my partner and I to find joy, ease, and peace in our relationship, however that needs to happen. Prayers of gratitude to my beloved spirit guides and benefactors for all of their help and support. Please continue to help me safe and be protected. Prayers that I may get completely free and fully autonomous as ASAP. Prayers for healing of my cold symptoms quickly. Prayers that Parker finds the love he deserves. Prayers for Hakuna and Martha's sister Mary. Prayers for deeper community connections. Prayers for safety, protection, and swift passage. Prayers for AKMGCSR and that they have what they need to awaken. Prayers for Lama Rod for safety, protection, and all the resources needed for his continued work in daily life. Prayers for all the animals and trees, plants, and the land. May they be eternally blessed and know that they are deeply loved, honored, and seen. Prayers for compassion and stillness to grieve and continue transforming. Prayers for C and P's dad who are having a tough autumn. Prayers for W and I for the breakup we're experiencing. Prayers for the Alta Kimco people and the land defenders on Parent Road whose land has been trespassed by settlers this week to cut wood. Prayers for Marcy with cancer diagnosis and treatments beginning. May she find a way through that magnifies her own beautiful being. May we all support her however we can. Offering prayers as I navigate going no contact with my family. Prayers for C and her family in their grief. Prayers for M, IM, FM, and NM as their family unit reorganizes. Prayers to all facing cancer as well as acute depression and anxiety. May we all be free and have the resources we need to weather this time. Prayers that all of our ancestors experience forgiveness, healing, and freedom. Prayers for Ricky Joyner, still having radiation and chemo for glioblastoma brain tumor. He's really struggling, and his wife, Diane. Prayers for my brother Chip, wherever he is now, 65 years after leaving the earth plane. Prayers for healing my nervous system, especially as stress manifests as neuropathy and the growing anxiety and lack of feeling and balance that comes with it. Prayers for Louis P. for clarity and stability in his studies and a recent illness, and his mom Allison C. Prayers for Joyce G. that she gets proper diagnosis and treatment for various physical problems. Prayers for everyone who cannot walk without crutches, be it literal mobility devices, process addictions, or mind-changing substances. May everyone who wants to journey with clarity find everything that they need to be able to do so. Prayers that heartbreak be heart opening, but where grief is love rushes in. Prayers for peace and S's heart for love and liberation. Prayers for the being that wants to come through me and be present and be parented. Prayers to break free. I am a family advocate and families need me. I'm afraid to go to find them. My fear is keeping them from the information and love they need. Help me break that fear, please. I pray that this tremendous force that wants to be of service breaks through this fear. Prayers for Patrick, my brother, as he continues on the spiritual awakening that is using the cancer to guide him. Prayers for my father, Charles, who transitioned on November 4th after a one-year battle of pancreatic cancer. Prayers that I stay grounded and open to love during my grieving. That I show up for myself and my beloveds and my loved ones, grounded in love. Prayers for my mother, Olivia, who has some suspicious module in her recent test results. May all further testing be benign. Prayers for friends JP and AA who are dealing with cancer, for FL whose cat has just transitioned, for RJ who transitioned recently at a young age while recovering from surgery, and her loved ones and community. Prayers for all in the Ukraine, also in Gaza and Israel. May there finally be peace. May the genocide come to an end. And I continue to pray for my aunt, Jelaine, as she continues to recover from a major stroke. I pray for Nova, that she finds support for her upcoming sabbatical as well. And I continue to pray for the liberation of all beings from systems of violence and harm and subjugation. May these very same systems be abolished as quickly as possible. And in that abolishment, may we remember who and what we are as expressions of the most complete and perfect liberation. May we all remember as quickly as possible. May it be so. And we offer these prayers to all the great spirits, and we ask that you work on our behalf to bring about the fruition of these prayers, and also bless us so that we may be able to continue to bring about the fruition of what we most need to see right now. May it be so. And as we turn our attention back into the practice, I invite you to imagine now that as we've been offering what we've been holding to Medicine Buddha, which is, again, offering emptiness into emptiness, I invite you to begin to imagine now that Medicine Buddha is offering what we're needing back to us in whatever form feels appropriate for us. So again, beginning to imagine that Medicine Buddha is offering back to us what we most need right now in whatever form feels appropriate in this moment. Okay? And we'll begin again. Ot ea daum begenze ma begenze razu sumungache sua ea daum begenze ma begenze razu sumungare sua ea daum begenze ma begenze 대한다운 백은세 백은세 마백은세라서 숨은 가래소와 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 대한다 백은세 백은세 마백은세라서 숨은 가래소와 대한다운 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 백은세 백은세 마백은세라서 숨은 가래소와 And so, with that, as Medicine Buddha offers back to us for the last time, we imagine that Medicine Buddha, in whatever form, begins to dissolve into white light. And we imagine that that white light becomes the final offering. Imagining that that white light is absorbed deeply down into our heart centers, where we have the final offering always there for us to tune into, to call upon whenever we need. And all of our benefactors also dissolve into white light, and they also pour right down into our heart centers as well, as we know that our benefactors are always holding us, always moving with us. And so we return back to the seat, to the weight of our bodies. We reconnect to the earth as the mother. And when you're ready, beginning to reawaken your bodies through some movement. And we turn our attention to Shantideva's prayer, which you'll see in the chat box. We will recite this 3 times. Thrice we shall recite it. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. May I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I always be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach into the ends of space. And finally, may I be a protector to those without protection, a leader for those who journey, and a boat, a bridge, a passage for those desiring the further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. Just like space and the great elements such as earth, may I always support the life of all the boundless creatures, and until they pass away from pain, may I also be the source of life for all the realms of varied beings that reach unto the ends of space. Okay. Thank you, friends, so much for your practice. And since we're like technically finishing early, um, or on time, yeah, so I have questions. So Rachel, you can come on up first, and then I'll take. Let's just do about 10 minutes. Can we do that, Eric? Yeah. So Rachel, you come on first.
Yeah, this would be so great, Lama Rod. I was just wondering, like you've talked about so many different herbs
Uh-huh.
recently,
Oh yeah.
um, and I was thinking, is there an herb to make a tea
Yeah.
that has sort of a mothering quality
Yeah.
to reduce anxiety?
Oh, absolutely.
What would it be?
Motherworts, lemon balm, skullcap, chamomile, lavender, um, Yeah. Totsi is really powerful, and you can combine, right? You can
Yeah.
combine, but it just feels like chamomile is so it's just so warming and so mothering, right? A little bit of motherwort with that. Um, yeah, yeah, a little bit of passion flower.
Mm.
Hmm.
That's great. Thank you. Thank you for putting that in the chat, Eric. I'm just
Hmm.
gonna put it on a little thing. Thank you so much.
And I'm partial to rosemary, as you know, which is really nice. And yeah, those are really good. Those are great ones.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. It's great to see you.
Yeah. Oh, thank you. Yeah. Add some honey. Yep. Add. You can put wherever else you want in there. Some honey, sugar, whatever. Lemon. Mm, warming.
Yeah.
Um. Okay. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Rachel. And who else has a question? You can put it in the chat as well. I think ginger is also really good as well. Oat straw, like ginger. Um, for me is very warming. Peppermint can be a part of that too.
And Lama Rod, just as others are perhaps
Okay.
cooking on their questions, I'll just go ahead and say my closing bit. Just thank you so much, Lama Rod. Thank you, everyone, as always, for sharing your medicine and presence. As always, if this offering supports your liberation, please donate to help sustain. lamarod.com/donate. Everything makes a huge difference. Every contribution, every energetic exchange of resources is profound. So please don't underestimate the difference you make by donating. And as always, the Medicine Buddha Quick Links doc is there to support you in all sorts of ways. Definitely worth checking out. And there was maybe another question in the chat.
Yes, a couple of questions. So herbs for clarity, rosemary is a great one for clarity. Um, rosemary, rosemary and ginger together is really powerful. Um, herbs with herbs that help with grief. I like, lemon balm, skullcap are good ones. And to grieve with. I think cedar would be really interesting to work with as well. Um, and then what do we use in our grief course? We use, someone remind me.
I think it was rosemary was
Was
one
it
of
was it rosemary? And
It was Ella campaign.
Ella
them.
campaign, that's right. That's right, thank you. Ella campaign for me um is really quite potent to work with. You get Ella campaign as a root, a stride, so you kind of have to like prepare it in a certain way. Um, so it's not just like a leaf tea that you can just see. And boy, you have to kind of go through extra preparation, but it's worth it. It's a very bitter herb, but like the often the more bitter something is an herb is working with like things like the liver, and the liver processes a lot of emotion in Chinese medicine, especially. So anything that helps the liver process, cleanse, release is always going to be really great with strong emotions. Anywho, the hawthorn heart opening. right? Burdock, things like that. Ginger, another like heart opener. Ginger is just a very powerful, almost magical herb that just cuts through, burns through. Like ginger opens, right, and allows work to happen. So if you're working with a lot of trauma, ginger is a really great herb to ally with in your treatment. Yeah. The final prayer. Yeah, the final prayer. Rose, great heart opener. Rose is really powerful. I know, Julie, you always give me rose heart elixir, which I always keep. I have some right here. But as we move into, I may encourage this as we get closer to solstice, but I like to, in my herbal community, we like to winter with an herb. Um, so it's like a plant dieta. Like if you do plant medicine work, like you do a dieta, like with an herb or a tea or something, right? But like partnering with an herb and just like working with that herb, drinking it, taking it, whatever way, throughout the winter can be a really beautiful partner that accompanies us into the inner work of winter, of wintering. Um, Sister Schieffer and I will be offering a special weekly kind of podcast series on wintering. She doesn't know it yet because I haven't told her. But it's going to start in January.
Beautiful.
And that and the prayer, Rue, yeah, Rue. Um,
There's so many good questions in the chat, and there's one really important one that I am seeing from
oh
Paul.
yeah.
I didn't think I had to ask, but I shouldn't assume. We're cool. Oh, I just lost it. We're cool to practice poly with other teachers and lineages, right?
You, I stopped at Polly because I was like, apparently you haven't read anything I've written about relationships. Yeah, like why? Yeah, absolutely. Like I'm poly too. Like it's just and this is a really good question because I think it's important that you understand that you can have as many teachers as you need, right? This is, some of you just drop in from Medicine Buddha, that's all you do. I mean, some of you just do one or two things on the platform, and that's your thing. Some of you do everything, and that's fine. Some of you come from other teachers, other lamas, other traditions, other lineages. That's great. So keep doing that. Wherever you find your dharma, just do it. Take it. Study, practice with it. Right. That's it. Yeah. Um, and so I know Lauren Carey, I'll finish with this just a minute or two. I know you asked about the prayer. I think it makes sense that you're asking about the prayer because Harriet was very present in that prayer. At least with me, she was very present with that prayer. It was almost as if I was being offered a new commentary line by line as we were reciting it. Um, and what the message was really like this is the most important thing for us to become, which is the medicine, right? That we should be now. We should. I know that's a hard phrase, but like really, you should be praying to become the medicine. I can't let up on this. Like this is not an invitation. You really need to be praying to become the medicine, right? To become what beings need, right? Because if you become what other beings need, then you know that you're first becoming what you need. Because the medicine that we create for ourselves is the medicine that we offer for others, that we pour for others, right? And this is a big part, of my work around spiritual herbalism, right? Is that like I can't offer you, you know, like medicinal, herbal ideas if I haven't first tried them out for myself. That they have to become the medicine for me. And therefore, when I'm working with that medicine, I know how to prescribe it to others. You know, yeah. Okay. Well, that's great. I know this is a holiday week for people, and it may mean family time for some of us as well. So I'm offering just special prayers that we all have what we need. Particularly if our families are difficult, may you be protected and guided, and the grief and the heartbreak that comes up for so many of us as we enter into this time, which is not just the holidays, it's also solstice, is also the retreating of the lights. Like we're feeling that. Like a lot is happening right now on top of systemic collapse, you know. But one thing I do have to celebrate is Margie Taylor Greene is quitting, right? And she represents my home district. So I'm still praying not to run into her when I'm at home. Because that's not going to be great for anyone. So, may we all be protected. May we all be deeply loved. May you remember all of your guides and mentors and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas as we move deeper into this season. And we will be having solstice celebrations both online and in person. So you'll be getting that information soon. Okay? All right. Well, thank you, everyone. I'll see you next Monday.